Really quickly on question 19, okay? We mentioned that log 8 base 2 is 3 and 8 equals 2 to the power 3. Now, anytime you see log E is 2.718, but there's a quick way of drawing that, all right? And basically, you don't have to write down, you have a shortcut for that. Now, you find it's really awkward to put this into your calculator. If you go to calculator and do log and you do E, it comes with an extra power on it. So there's a quick way of doing this. The quick way of doing this is anytime you see log base E, use ln instead. So you'll see it here. Everybody see ln? See that one there? That automatically means log base E. I covered that pretty deeply in one of the videos, did I? Perfect. Right. So you're not hearing this for the first time. So what happens is the first question is basically anywhere I see log base E, I replace it with ln. So the first question is literally x equals ln E. See why I changed that for ln? Now, it's the same thing, isn't it? It's log E base E. Any number to the same base, lads? 1. Any number to the same base is always 1. What's log 10 base 10? 1. Because 10 equals 10 to the power of 1. So the answer to the first one is simply x equals 1. Very easy. Now, next one. This one here. If I gave you this, never mind question 2, if I said ln x equals 2, imagine I asked you to solve that. What you'd have to do is you'd actually have to write log x base E is 2. Now, how do we do this in index form? Bring the E upwards, what happens? X equals nearly e to the power 2. Remember log rules? Index form. Right. Next one. You can just put that into your calculator as ln 1 over E. Really quickly, look. ln. And then just do 1 over E. So press your fraction button. 1. And then do shift E. There's ln 1 over E. Does everybody see it? And the answer is -1. Okay. Now, lads, I can do that without the calculator as well. I can show you how to do it without the calculator. No bother. It's like this, log E. I'm going to use the negative power rule. Does anybody know what I can change that into? E to the power of. Use the power rule. Bring the -1 to the front. Base E. Any number to the same base? -1 multiplied by 1. Same answer. Right, cool. Now, part 4, guys. What do you reckon here? It's a cubed root, not a squared root. Cubed root. Any idea? A third. Just because that's the 3 in front of it. If that had a 4 in front of it, it'd be a quarter. Nothing. I'm talking to you about you said square root. Yeah, so I'm just telling you that, like, if that was a 5, that would be a 5th. Just talking maths. All right. Now, bring the third to the front. What happens when you bring the third to the front? And what's log E base E? 1. So the answer is? And you multiply it? Yeah, a third or 0.3333. All right. You're going to go over all this again later on, I think. Trigonometry. Okay, guys. This one here, it's like a e to the power of log's like an undo button. So here's what we're going to go for, right? So do you see the way that says e log e x? Everybody see that? Okay. Now, this is like, there's a really weird way of showing. So would everybody agree that this is e ln x? Would everybody agree with that? They're like an undo button, believe it or not. So look at this. E ln 5, for argument's sake. E ln 5. Ready? E ln 5 is 5. Anybody predict what E ln 20 is? 20. So E ln anything. E ln Kenny. What do you think the answer is? Kenny. The two of them in that combination, they actually undo each other. So they actually undo each other. It's like an inverse. It's like multiplication and division. They undo each other. Okay, see you later. So, if you're wondering how they undo each other or why that happens, I'll show you now. Okay, so look at this. Ready? E to the power of ln x equals 5. Okay, we're going to follow our usual rule. Glad you're listening. We're going to follow our usual rule is to log both sides. Now, we previously have been using log base 10, haven't we? But this time I'm not going to use log base 10. I'll explain why. Anytime there's e's involved, use log base e. I'll explain why in a second. Okay, you cool with that? Now, what does that effectively do to the power? What does that do to ln x? It's a power. It's a power, though. This is the power. What's the power rule of logs? What you do with the power when you're using logs? Bring it to the front. So what am I going to do with that ln x? Yeah. And next of all, what is log e base e? 1. Log e base e is 1. Okay. And what's this? Would you ever agree that's ln 5? And compare both sides. ln is ln, which means x equals 5. They're the same thing, aren't they? So that's how you know how to do that one. Okay. And part 3 is the same deal. Part 3 is very similar to... Now, actually, sorry, part 3 is slightly different. Part 3, you just use your calculator. Like part 3, just throw it straight into the calculator. Can everybody throw that straight into the calculator right now for part 3? It's really easy. Sorry. It's to use your calculator is easy, but this stuff is quite difficult, actually. So it's ln e ln 2, isn't it? So it's e log 2 base e. And what we discussed earlier is that this part here means what? So it's e ln 2. And we also discussed that these two are basically an undo button. But you wouldn't remember that, so you just put it into the calculator and find out. And everybody got e ln 2? Answer is 2. Perfect. All right. We have to half pass, don't we? Perfect. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is part 4. Yeah. Bring the log 7 to the right. Now, I can't add them together purely because... I can't add them together because they're not the same type of log, are they? If that was an x, just for argument's sake, if that was an x, you'd have 2 of them plus 1 of them, which is 3 of them. But that's not the case here, is it? No, it's not the case. Okay, so I can't add them. Now, I also can't use the addition rule for, I can't use the addition rule. Why am I not allowed to use the addition rule? Can anybody tell me? If I have log 10 plus log 5, the answer is log 50, isn't it? That's because they have the same base number. And you notice that it's just a log on its own. There's no 2 log. Do you get what I'm saying? So you can't use the addition rule because that 2 is preventing it from working. So how do you get rid of that 2 is what I'm asking you. Yeah, so that's how we knew to move that there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now all of a sudden the addition rule is on. I forgot about my number 1, which is still over there. Remember you're multiplying. So what's it? 7 squared equals 1. Now you got to remember this. This is tough now. Okay. When I get the 7x squared on its own, what happens to the e? Where does it go? If you aren't sure, write down a really easy log that you know the answer of. Everybody agrees log 8 base 2 is 3. Where does the 2 go? Where does the 2 go to make that work? 2 to the power of 3. So where should the e go? E power 1. Or just e. Now, we have to get the x on its own. So divide by 7. Now, If I had x squared equals 25, what would you tell me the answer is? Now, you're missing part of that, though. It's plus or minus 5. Plus 5 and minus 5 are two answers for that. So what do you think the answer of this is going to be? Plus or minus the square root of? Yeah, and that's your answer. Right? You see the way you bring in simpler questions to answer the harder ones? Okay? You're basically, see this right-hand side? You're basically just doing that, except it's slightly more complicated. Yes. So these ones here, okay. Let's start off with, so question 1, question 4 is a harder version of question 1. Does everybody see that? Question 4 is a harder version of question 1, and I'll show you why. E to the power of 7x equals 1. Now, 7 times 7x. Can anybody tell me why won't I log at the start? Why won't I do a log at the start? Am I allowed to move that 7x to the front then? No, why not? The 7, see that 7? This 7 here? That 7 there is not affected by that power. Therefore, I'm not allowed to move it. Okay? So what should I have done at the very beginning? Get rid of the green 7. So where should that go? Where should the green 7 go? No, this 7 here, it's multiply. 7 multiplied by that. 1 over 7. Is that right? Now, lads, now I can log both sides. Now this 7x. Does this 7x affect the only thing that's there? It affects the e. And there's only the e, isn't there? So that means it obeys the power rule. Bring it to the front. And what do we get? Equals 1/7. Okay. Now what? What is ln e? What is log e base e? 1. ln e is 1. Okay. So now we're just going to get 7x equals ln 1/7. And what can the answer be then? ln 1/7 divided by 7. Draw that into the calculator. Whatever it kicks out is your answer. Right? Now, lads, if you're feeling fully lost, you should. You're going to have to go over everything we did today and yesterday and the day before again. Okay? Oh, to throw it into the calculator, press fraction button to begin. Press ln. Then open up another fraction and do 1/7. And then underneath, you're going to go for 7 on the bottom. Minus 0.28. All right. I'll do one more of these for the day, all right? Now, I'm going to go for question. You're going to do them again later anyway. Actually, sort of is in a way. Yeah, in some cases, some of these more complicated versions of these formulas could be used, yeah. Now, lads, this one looks insane. Yeah, this one actually looks absolutely insane, right? Now, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I don't like that part there. Does anybody else not like that part there? No, not a fan of it, all right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do the power rule. How do we do the power rule? Minus 1/5 ln x. Yeah. Okay, here's what I'm going to do next. Multiply both sides by minus. What happens when you multiply both sides by minus? 1/5 ln x. All right. Bring up the 5. Ln x equals minus 1 multiplied by 5 minus 5. Okay. This is log x base e, isn't it? Now, how do we get x on its own? So what's that mean? E to the power minus 5 is your answer, yeah. Otherwise known as 1 over e to the power of 5. Same answer. All right, guys.